Okay, so in this section what we're going to look at is the history of cryptocurrencies and a little bit about the performance over the last year or so of a number of different cryptocurrencies and some of the underlying liquidity. So for a little bit of history about cryptocurrencies, what I'd like to first of all do is sort of step back in time and because the technology underpinning many of these cryptocurrencies actually comes from the 70s. And essentially what it is think of it as an Excel spreadsheet where the information is held in a very, very secure cryptographic using military grade security. Makes it very, very difficult to actually get into the information. But rather than being held in one central place, it's actually held in a variety of different locations. Using that technology, 10 years ago, we saw the creation of something called a Bitcoin. And that was the first mainstream cryptocurrency. But it wasn't until 2015 that we then started seeing a number of other cryptocurrencies, and probably the second most famous and certainly the second largest cryptocurrency is something called Ethereum. But we had to then wait until March, April 2017, when we started seeing other people using the fabric, the skeleton of Ethereum to start launching a variety of cryptocurrencies. And that led to, in 2017, something in excess of 1,400 different cryptocurrencies being issued onto the market. But why? Well, one of the main reasons I would cite is purely greed or fear of losing out. And what I mean by that is people started seeing the performance of some of these cryptocurrencies performing quite extraordinarily. In 2017, we saw a cryptocurrency called Ripple, which actually is backed by 100 of the biggest banks in the world. And it's been designed as a form of exchange for banks to be able to replace an existing mechanism that they use to transfer money on a day-to-day basis between them. That system is called SWIFT, which has been around since the 70s, which in turn replaced another system called telexing money across different bank institutions. So with Ripple, they're claiming, or they're trying to actually reduce the cost of interbank transfer, i.e. from, say, Morgan Stanley to HSBC, and then on to Santander, and then maybe back to, Lloyds Bank. It's that sort of transfer that we don't get involved in, but our banks are actually doing on a regular basis. And Ripple went up an incredible 36,000%. So people start looking at it thinking, wow, if I just put a little bit of money in there, then I probably wouldn't be having to watch a video like this, because I wouldn't actually have to have too many financial concerns because I'd already be financially independent. So before we move on, let me just go back a step and explain what is Ripple. Well, Ripple basically is a company, as I said, funded by 100 of the biggest banks in the world. And they basically are using, you can invest in Ripple and buy a cryptocurrency. And the more successful Ripple becomes, then hopefully the higher in value the token price will actually appreciate. So you've got the ability and the exposure for a relatively small sum of money, literally for a few tens of pounds or dollars or euros, to invest into a technology, invest into a company that is being used and backed by some of the biggest banks in the world. And indeed, in 2018, we've actually seen Santander announce in January that they're going to be using Ripple as part of the foundation technology to start transferring money between some of its branches, making it one of the biggest commercial uses of blockchain that we've seen to date.